And hello, and welcome to another video. Today, I've decided to do my review. Review might be a bit of a stretch, more like impressions of Warner Brothers' The Suicide Squad. And I'm happy to say that for everyone who is concerned about this game, it's not as bad as you think. It's worse. It's so much worse. This game is just terrible, and we're going to talk about it. So let's jump into the action. So this game, I can't even describe it. It is so so bad that it's generic. It's one of the most generic experiences that I've ever played in a game. So first off, I guess we'll talk about the optimization. It's okay. It's not the greatest optimized game, but it's doing all right. Graphics wise, it's pretty, but you're looking at that like stutters. Like we can look at my settings and try to figure out like what I've got turned on. I haven't played it for a little bit. But like, we can turn this down if I wanted to, but it's got this on. We can maybe go performance, but like, none of these details are that extreme that I don't think this game has much of an excuse for being as choppy, as bad as it is. But look at that. Like, it's just, you can see, I don't know if you can see in the top left corner, but it's going from like 60 up to 120, back down 90, like a lot of 1% lows. But anyway, if we're talking about the game itself, the biggest issues with this game, honestly, are the writing. The writing is absolute dog shit. It is one of the worst written games I've ever seen in a long time. It is really just bad. There's not much of quality here. And I'm only really in early section of the game. Like, I think I'm really only 3 to 5 hours into this game, and I'm like, this game is so bad. Like, the story is awful, which would be okay. Well, it's not okay in a narrative-driven game. Again, that was marketed as a narrative, but it would be okay if the combat was really, really good, and it's not. The combat is dog shit. Like, literally, all the combat is find enemies, look for the purple butts, and shoot the purple butts, and that's really it. That's the whole combat. The that's really it. There are different type of weapons, but to be honest, there's nothing particularly interesting about any of them. Any of the weapons. Um, there's nothing at all because they're all basically the same. You got a pistol, you got shotguns, you got snipers, and for the most part, they all do the same thing. Like right now, if you look at that, like we've dropped all the way down to 30 FPS, going down to 40. Like the fuck? Like we shouldn't be having that bad a performance. We can turn the frame rate down. Let's drop it to 72. But we got DLSS turned on as well, which means natively it's not going to run. We could turn, like, I don't even have ray tracing on or anything. Like we could turn down everything down to medium and see if that improves it. But to be honest, this game isn't doing anything that heavy. Like, it shouldn't be running that heavy on the computer. Like, to me, this is kind of crazy. And like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I got Steam Labs on and I'm using that to record this video, and maybe that's having an effect. But if I'm being honest, it shouldn't be have that much of an effect. Well, like if the game was optimized well to begin with, it wouldn't be a problem. But it is. Also, melee. Melee is really just there for if the enemy's like frozen or got armor, you can then use that to break that stuff. So it's not proper melee. Like you can't actually be like, I want to do a melee build, so I'm just gonna go full on melee. Can't do that. That's not an option. So you can just hold that. You can use it at Harvest Shield. You can throw grenades. Like it's all basic. As you can see from this gameplay, like that I'm recording live, like that you can then press a button to do like a special, type ability, which is like cool, but yeah, it kills one enemy. There's nothing special about it. The only real core difference between the characters is the the traversal systems. And honestly, I think that Harley Quinn's grapple and the Speed Force device that Captain Boomerang kind of suck. The only reason I'm playing is Death, Deadshot is because I like the fact he's got his sniper rifle for doing high DPS damage, and the fact that like his movement with the jetpack is to me the only one that actually seems to work and feel simple enough to use. And the game even recommends, oh, go mouse and keyboard. It's like, why the fuck do I want to use mouse and keyboard? And honestly, playing this now more and more, and perhaps this is just me, this is not the game necessarily, but the performance is so bad. Like, this is not okay. Normally, when I'm playing it, I'm getting okay performance, but this just feels not good, dude. Like, we could try that. Target 120 or something, but man, like, the performance is just not good. It's really not. I'm just not overall enjoying the experience. This is just not a good made game at all. I should be able to get like 100. Oh, because I'm pressing the wrong button. But this is pretty much the game, and that doesn't even talk about like actual missions because I've done the missions. They're so boring. It's just the same thing over and over and over again, and you're just like finding these mobs, and okay, like it's not it's not dog shit. Like the combat is serviceable, but it's not. It's just not very good. Like what you're seeing now, right, is pretty much what I've been doing this whole entire time, and the combat doesn't really change. And the good news is there are what do you call it? You can level up. You absolutely can get levels. Like there's a skill tree. But the skill tree is so shallow, there's so like no depth to it at all that even if you do like actually use those systems, there's nothing to it. Like you get these upgrades and you're like, "Oh yeah, cool, I've upgraded." It is so unnoticeable like what the upgrade is that I cannot tell you, like I can't feel the effect of the said upgrade, and it just feels super dog shit. Like it's just, yeah, it's not good. And to be honest, the weirdest part for me, as someone that like loves Batman, love the Arkham games, how that team made this is so strange. And I think the weirdest part about this game is it's not a good live service game, and it's not a good narrative driven story game. Like the things they wanted to do with this title, they didn't do any of it well. It's so odd. Like this game probably should have been cancelled like in that first starter's years into development, which makes me think that Warner Brothers were just letting them work without being involved and didn't actually have a look at what this game was. And I get it that, they're the publisher, they're not there to supervise, watch them the whole time, but like it's their product. Like if the game flops, it's really them who's losing the money. It's like, yeah, Rocksteady might not exist, but it's hurting their bottom line. Like you would think they would at least take some interest in the product and make sure that what they are releasing isn't crap. Even look at like just looking at the footage, it just doesn't look good, dude. The like colors, the graphics, it just looks so old, outdated, and it's not good. Now, that being said, I paid $5 for this game. I bought it on Steam for $5 when it was on sale. And for $5, if you're bored, and as if you're a gamer, there are always lulls in the industry where there's just not really much that comes out. And if you've got time and you're like, well, I just want to play, I need something to play in the meantime, while I wait for between big releases, then this is not a horrible experience in the sense that there is combat here. you can use it to waste hours and waste time. And for $5, I would say if you're interested, it's probably this. If you can get it for $5, which you should be able to, then I don't see a reason why not to play. For the most part, it is serviceable enough, right? But overall, if you ask me, like, is it worth full price? Absolutely not. Do not buy this game full price. It is, in my opinion, like, if we're talking about video game, like, I know people talk about Concord and all that stuff and talk about, like, video games as a scam. I genuinely believe this game is a scam. And I think the problem with this game is this is just an example of poor leadership and people in positions that they were either not skilled enough to do or more qualified enough to do. And I know there will be people who will say, well, you can't blame the developers, and that's a fair point. However, what I will say is if this game, as bad as it is, right, the developers are the ones making this, should have been able to look and be like, oh yeah, I see why it's so awful. And we make excuses for them, but let's be honest, they made it. If there was if they knew it was as bad as it is, right, the problems with this game, one of them either should have flagged it or could have, and they chose not to. And you can make like a bunch of arguments to be like why it's not fair to blame them for that, and fair enough, I get it. But also at the same time, like, they were getting paid money. It was like, this is their job that they were doing. If they knew these problems, they should have flagged it. So I think the real answer, and I know a lot of people might not like to admit this, I think the biggest problem with Concord is that even the developers, not Concord, with Suicide Squad is, I don't even think the developers really knew what they were doing in the sense of this game. Like, I don't think they saw this as being like a massive flop. I think they saw this game and went, yeah, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and probably thought what they were doing was good. I don't think they played it. I don't think they understood what this was. And because they didn't understand what the game was, when it came out and people talked about how bad this was, they were in shock. I get it. I understand. But fuck, man. Like, this game at so many points probably should have been cancelled. For one thing, the whole idea behind Kill the Justice League was stupid. And the reason it was dumb is because players have been begging for a Justice League game for years. And they finally are giving us something like this, and their decision was to go, we're going to make the Justice League kill the Suicide Squad. So dumb. So brain dead stupid. No one wanted this. Like, I think that's the other problem. Like, who told them to make this game? Now, I like the idea of a Suicide Squad game. I think it can work. I still think it can work. But they needed to make it like off on a random island, or you go out on another adventure, make it fully story driven. Like, that could be a really cool game, a really cool idea. But what they've done here is just so poor. It is crazy. And as you can kind of see, like, from the combat that I'm showing you, it's not that, there's nothing really good and interesting about it. And you just grind for parts and levels. And then it also didn't help that when they brought out new seasons for the game, instead of giving you the character at the start and you play through the season as the new character, they would make you grind it for hours and hours and hours on end. And they'd be like, hey, now that you've done all the grinding, you can unlock and play more as that character. Which to me suggests that they knew the game was shit and they couldn't get players in, so they had to do that to either A, make you buy it so they could at least make some money off it, or because they knew it was dog shit, and instead of actually going like, oh, we'll just buy, yeah, they knew it was bad, so instead of actually, I can't remember what I was gonna say. Maybe this is why people edit videos. Anyway, I just think they knew it was bad and they wanted to do whatever they could to try and force the players to play the game. Which, look, to an extent, I totally get that. It makes sense. I guess I'll show you the skill tree now. Like, this is literally the skill tree. And as you level, you get a point into here where you can choose, like, one of these options. Like, Ultra Impact, Crits well below. Like, none of these are really that good, to be honest. That just increases our chance at combo. I don't know. I mean, what's good is you can swap your skills, like the perk tree, whenever you want. So it does give you that flexibility, but there's really only 3 options. And the game basically doesn't just force you into those options, right? Like the game forces you into these options, and there's just not much flexibility in the builds, and there's not much impact. So it just feels bad. Like almost they shouldn't even bothered putting it in. To be honest, this game is just full of systems that aren't fleshed out, don't work very well, are poor, and just unfun to play. Overall, I don't necessarily hate it, but I understand why some people might not like it. Actually, I just want to test something quickly. So if we, because it just, my footage looks very dark. So if we hide it, oh yeah, look at that. That's night and day difference. Like, as you can see, now we are definitely hitting a frame rate tank, but I can see, like, oh god, look how bad that looks. It is a bit choppy. The footage is a bit choppy. It actually looks okay on my end, but the video is looking bad. We might go back to how it was. Because, yeah, that just doesn't look good. Well, at least it's not, the frame rate's a bit better. Like, we're in the 70s right now. But yeah, it just, look, I could go on for hours just talking and complaining about this, but it's not a good game. I would highly suggest that you stay the absolute fuck away from this title and don't even touch it. But that being said, I will say, if you're bored and you've got a couple of weekends where you're just waiting for, I don't know, maybe Resident Evil 9 or Crimson Desert or whatever, and you can get this game for $5 and you can use it to pass some time, give it a shot. Like, it's not terrible in the sense of like unplayable. It's just terrible as a AAA title. There's just so much lacking in this that I am shocked by how poor this game is. Now, like, even just looking at this, it's just shoot at them, bang. It's not very interesting. It's like, okay, well then you can like use that, try break like the shields that they get, and then you can just shoot at them. But again, like nothing of this is incredibly enjoyable. I the traversal systems are kind of interesting as an idea, but the reality is they don't work as a idea. They just don't really work very well. I am massively opposed to this game because I think this game is pretty much everything that is wrong with the gaming industry right now. Like all the stuff that happened with like High Guard and Concord and all those other live service games, like this is a prime example of how that stuff happens. And the biggest issue is then you get like these other companies who make these games that suck and then they try to blame consumers for it being shit. And it's like, guy, like we did everything we could to make sure we play this game and this is fun. The problem is I think what they should have done is they should have done, if you're doing a live service game, you need to do betas. You need to do betas and alpha modes and let people play the game early and not fans. Let players play it. Even some YouTubers play the game, but then also it's not just about them getting to play it. You also then need critics, people who are not sold on the game to play it, and you as a studio need to go, okay, how can I get those people who are not sold on this game, right? How can I get them in? How can I make those people who are expressing that they have concerns and stuff about the game they don't like? How can I get them into the game? And that's kind of what needed to happen with this. Like, so a YouTuber I do quite enjoy watching is Luke Stevens, was always very negative with this game. What they should have done is gone, well, we need to get a guy like him on board. If we can make him fall in love with the game and him on board with it being the next big thing, right? Then man, they could get anyone, but they didn't. Because I think truthfully, they just didn't have any kind of interest, and they weren't willing to do the work. This has gone on for a while. I guess what I really wanted to make a point of with this is the game is not trash. It's not. It might feel like it is, but it's not. But it's just an example of live service slop that needed a lot more love, tender care, and just needed people who really understand live service games to be in charge making this. And it's just very clear that people at Rocksteady were not prepared or knowledgeable on this area to make the game. And it is what it is. If you're interested, if you can get it for $5, get it for $5. You could probably play this for a weekend or so and have some fun with it. Maybe put like 20, 25 hours in it. And I think you could do that and have some fun and get a lot of value out of this experience. But other than that, the game sucks and it's not worth your time. I wouldn't pay anything more than $5 for it. I will say what's really impressed me is the fact that they've provided an offline mode and let you play it offline. That's amazing. I am so impressed that they have done that for the players. But yeah, I mean, I guess to summarize, the characters don't feel that different. The gear all basically feels the same, whether it's epic, rare, legendary. Yeah, the only difference between the weapons is this DPS number is higher than that DPS number, or that crit hit chance or whatever is higher. And that's how you feel the difference. Even with these little like perks things, it doesn't feel noticeable. There's no weight. So the gear, the leveling, the progression, all of it just isn't good. Now it's not horrible. Could be worse, but it really needed to be a lot better, and there's a reason why this game flopped. And to be honest, Rocksteady are lucky that they still exist as a studio, and I think we all should have known there was a red flag the minute that the studio heads ran. They ran for the hills because they realized they fucked up. And I feel bad for the devs, but also it's kind of their fault too. And I understand people want to like say, "Oh, but they're just developers. It's not entirely their fault." And maybe that's true. But if they knew what this was going to be, they should have pushed the management and said, "Hey, this is going to be a disaster. We need to make changes." And I'm guessing that none of them did. Probably because they didn't want to lose their jobs. Like I get it, I understand. But at the end of the day, like if you do nothing and you sit there, eventually you're going to lose your job anyway because this game failed. And I'm sure there's a lot of people at Rocksteady who are getting made redundant, and probably worse, now they're just being used as B team developers. And that's not going to be good for the resume. It's not going to be beneficial to you. How can you have a good career and move forward and work on the big games when you're doing that stuff? Like, I can't think of an example, but if you want to get hired to make the next big AAA game title, single player experience, having this on the resumes just ain't going to do it for you. And a lot of them should have left when they had the chance. Sorry this video has been a bit negative, but all I wanted to say, I guess add as I sign this off, is that there's some really strong points here that I think if you get it for cheap, you could have a nice time with. But overall, I think this game will go down as being one of the greatest disappointments in video game history. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm happy that gamers stood together, knew this was crap, and no one played it. And hopefully there will be lessons learned from this, and we can move on. But if I'm being brutally honest with you, I highly doubt it. I hope there is, I really do. But I really doubt that they will learn their lessons because, as we all know, they never really do. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this video here. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks. Bye.